Welcome back to Quanie, the podcast. Welcome back to season 2. Thank you for being here. One thing I saw this week was so simple, but it genuinely made my whole morning softer. And I saw this little boy, maybe 6 or 7, running towards his dad with his whole spirit, just full of joy, full of excitement, like he knew exactly where he belonged. And the dad saw him coming and opened his arms in that steady, patient way where parents do when catching their child is just second nature. The boy jumped. The dad caught him, and it was like the easiest thing in the world. And the little boy said, "I missed you." And the dad said, "I missed you too." And it wasn't dramatic, it wasn't loud, but the moment had this softness to it, like the whole park took a breath. Even when life feels complicated, the world still gives us these tiny moments that reminds us what connection looks like. And that made me think about today's episode, because sometimes the moments that feel the simplest come during seasons of transition. Today's episode is called Back Home, and this is for anyone in their late 20s, 30s, even 40s who found themselves living with their parents again. Not because they failed, not because they're irresponsible, not because they made the wrong choices, but because life shifted, the world shifted, rent shifted, inflation shifted, everything changed. And starting over sometimes starts at home. Let's be honest. Nobody plans to move back home in their 30s. Nobody dreams about arguing with their mom about the thermostat as a grown adult. But the pandemic happened. Jobs changed, cities emptied, prices rose, groceries doubled. Rent started acting like it has something to prove out here in these streets. And suddenly, a lot of people who were fully grown, capable, found themselves back in their childhood bedroom, trying to rebuild their lives, not because they're behind, but because they're realistic. And that kind of honesty takes courage. Here's the part most people don't talk about. Moving back home in your 30s comes with a quiet pressure, a quiet embarrassment, a quiet voice saying, "You should be further," or "This is not my life." But that voice is lying, because the truth is, most people are rebuilding something: their finances, their mental health, their relationships, their sense of direction, their identity, their dreams. And rebuilding requires stability. And sometimes stability looks like home. There's no shame in that. And here's the funny part: your parents still see you as who you were, not who you became. You're 31, but suddenly you're 16 again. They knock like, "Are you up? Did you eat? Where you going? Why are you breathing so loud?" And you want to say, "Ma, I have lived alone. I've paid bills. Okay? I've had a whole adult life." But parents don't always update their software. Imagine if they had one. To them, you're still their child. It's humbling. It's funny. It's sometimes frustrating, but it's also love, just delivered in the only language they know. Living at home actually has benefits. You save money, you reset your mind, you breathe, you think, you rebuild without drowning. You get clarity, you can't get in chaos, and most importantly, you build your future from a place of stability, not survival. And there's nothing weak about that. To me, it's very strategic, it's mature, it's smart, and a lot of people wish they had that option. Here's the part we don't say. We are the new grown-ups. It's us now. We're redefining what adulthood looks like. We're healing things our parents didn't have the language for. We're creating lives that feel emotionally healthy, not just financially responsible. And because we're the new grown-ups, we get to create the experiences we always wanted. It's time for us to have the gatherings, to host the dinners, to plan game nights, to create community, to bring people together, even while we're still building ourselves. You don't need a house to create a home feeling. You don't need perfection either to create connection. You just need some intention, and that's real adulthood. And we're growing into that in our own way. Thank you for being here with me, where you live in this season does not define you. It's just where you are. It's just a temporary address, not where you'll stay. Give yourself permission to rebuild, reset, to breathe. There is no shame in starting again. There is no shame in going back home. I'll see you next Monday on Quanie, the podcast.